New school time. New classes. It's a fresh start in education. New teachers. Meeting new people. Yeah, Simpson School. Would you love to go there and have Mrs. Crabapple? All right? Wow, fantastic. Have Bart in your class. You've probably got a Bart in your class already. All right? But it's that time of change, isn't it? Time of change. You might get a new uniform. Don't they look awesome? Who's really proud of their kids when they got a new uniform on? It's great. And they look so smart. And by the end of the day, when they come back, you know, what happened? What happened? What's gone wrong? But yeah, and so you have to start again. You have to wash, don't you? You have to start again. New uniform the next day, and the next day comes back. What happened? And it might be something in church, a new program of events happening in church. We often do that. We follow the terms. Fresh starts, new beginnings, all the time are going on. September's that time for it. So I thought it'd be really good to think about fresh starts. But you know, for some people, fresh starts and new beginnings are not great. For some people, they get really worried that they can't make a fresh start. That it's not going to be easy to make a change, to make a fresh start in their life. Whether it's going to a new school. Children get really anxious sometimes, don't they, about having change. What's my teacher going to be like? Am I going to make new friends? What if I get things wrong? What if I don't know where to go? How do I get to lunch? What do I do if I need the loo? What's going to happen here? It's really anxious, really anxious. It's worrying time. And sometimes too, how do we make a fresh start in our work, grown-ups? Maybe we've messed up in a job. How do I deal with that? How do I apologize to my boss? What do I say? What do I do? Maybe we've screwed up with our family. We've got broken relationships in our family. And we don't know how to restore that. Perhaps our children are apart from us. Perhaps we've got an estranged marriage. Perhaps there are parents and children that are just not getting on. How do we deal with that? How do we change that? We think, I can't make a fresh start. Or maybe it's with our faith. Maybe we've just drifted away from God. How do we get back? What do we need to do? So I just want to give us some steers in the right place here this morning about some of those things. You know, we don't have to say the same. I remember watching a few years ago on an inset day at school, this clip from a TED talk. TED is like a big educational training thing. And there was this guy who says, if you do what you've always done, you get what you always got. That makes sense. If you want to make a change, you've got to do something different. You have to do something different. Now in school, we have, I don't know, we have something called growth mindset. Teachers will know all about growth mindset. You know, we're desperately trying to teach children not to be fixed in their thinking, but to be open. And there are some things here. You know, a fixed mindset says, I'm not good at this. But a growth mindset, well, what am I missing here? It's a different way of thinking. So we can make changes in our life by beginning to think differently about things. It's not good enough. Or it's good enough, it says there. Fixed mindset. Oh, it's good enough. Is this really my best? Can I improve it? I just can't do this. Ian will kill me for this. I just can't do maths. You know? I just can't do this. I'm going to train my brain. I'm going to train my brain. So if we can change the way we think, and we try that in education, we can make changes by thinking differently about the problems and the barriers that we face. By not having that same old thought about it. Let's think differently. So all is not lost. But I want to bring this into a spiritual and scriptural perspective, because that's education, and education is brilliant. But there's even more things, important things we need to change, and that's spiritually too. But you know, you might think you're in a dreadful place, and things are going really wrong. But all is not lost. I want you to think about the prodigal son. Think about that brilliant story of the prodigal son. Where was that boy? He was in the pigsty eating the pig food. Oh, what a life. It'd all gone wrong. He'd made bad choices. It had gone terribly wrong. But he didn't stay there. He made a choice. He did something different. And look what happened. The Father welcomed him back. And then, of course, there's Zacchaeus. Nasty guy. Cheating people. Extorting people. Unpopular. Hadn't got many friends. But he had lots of money. But he made a change when he met Jesus. All is not lost. You can make a fresh start. And then, of course, there's my favourite. There's Peter. There's Peter. I was always taught at school that Peter had foot and mouth disease. Every time he opened his mouth, he put his foot in it. And now that's Peter, isn't it? When you read the stories in the Bible, whoa, kept screwing up with Jesus, kept getting it wrong. And massively, when Jesus needed support the most, I don't know. Nothing to do with me. Denied his Lord. He messed up with Jesus. Big time. Could he come back from that? Could God ever forgive him? Yeah. And there's that wonderful story when they're having a barbecue on the beach, recorded in John 21. Do you love me? Yes, Lord, I do. And Jesus puts him in charge. He turns it around. A fresh start. And then, of course, there's Saul or Paul. Oh, my goodness. A killer of Christians. A torturer of Christians. A hater of Christians. Let's get rid of them off the face of the earth. Until he meets Jesus. And then what? A fresh start. He becomes the main author of the New Testament. What a change. You know, all is not lost. If you're in a bad place and you're thinking, I can't change, think about these stories. Think about these people. All right? They made that change. So what do we do now? What do we do now? You know, the Bible is really clear. If we're in a bad place, we have to recognize that we've messed up. That we've messed up. And John says, if we confess our sin, he is faithful and just and will forgive us our sin and purify us from all unrighteousness. There's no ifs and buts. But you need to see it yourself. It's not God who's wandered off. It's not everybody else who's got it wrong. Maybe it's us. And we need to say, I'm really sorry, I got this wrong. But then we have to think like Paul too, because we can't dwell on the past. But one thing I do, says Paul, is forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead. A fresh start. You don't keep looking back. I did that wrong. You're not bound by the past. When you become a Christian, it all goes. A fresh start. A fresh start. So, I found this beautiful picture. It's a bit old, but it's some of our youth. I know they're not young. I couldn't find a recent one. This is quite old. But you can see Mark in there sometime. He's one of the leaders. Where are you, Mark? He's up there. Woo, Mark. All right. There's Sam, who's on the sound desk. And there's Patrick, who's now... Where's Patrick working now? Huh? He's in Bath. And he's on fire for Jesus. In Bath at university. And there's Phil. There's Phil. Where's Phil here today? Hey, Phil. Look. Do you know what? These young people, now grown up, came through our church. They were taught by Mark and others, me and a few others. And they had fresh starts in their lives. Because they had teaching of how to do that. So I want to set us a challenge as a church for our young people here this morning. And this is in your goodie bag, families, that I would like you to take. And if there are any left over, please take them, even if you haven't got kids, because it'll tell you what's going on and you can still pray. It says, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your strength, all your soul and all your strength. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts, or in your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit there at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. I want to challenge Victoria Baptist Church to commit to teach and to pray for and with our children and young people. Education Sunday is about training and education for children. I want us as a church to commit to teaching our children the gospel, to give them a fresh start, to give them an opportunity of a fresh start. So what can we do? Our fresh start in September. We can start with Jesus. If you've never made a commitment to Jesus, you can do that. You can do that now. There's prayer zones at the back. Don't talk about it with somebody. If you want to start again with Jesus, because he's just drifted away, or the spiritual life is not great for you at the moment, and you want to recommit, and you want to just get back on track, go to one of those prayer zones. Talk to somebody you trust. Pray with somebody. Jesus is waiting to welcome you back. I want you to commit to pray for and to teach the young people of VBC. That's so important. And I'd like you to teach your children, if you have children at home, commit to teaching your children something of Jesus on a regular basis. That's a great commitment. It's tough call, this. It's hard. So how am I going to do this? It's too late for me. I can't change. My family, I haven't done this with my family. They won't want to do it. I can't do that. I've never prayed for this. It's too difficult. Fixed mindset. You don't want a fixed mindset. Think about Peter. Think about Peter. It's not too late for Peter. It's not too late for Paul. All right? Because nothing is impossible with God. You can make a change in your life. To commit to teach your children. To become a Christian. To change the way you live. In him we have redemption. Through his blood, the forgiveness of sins in accordance with the riches of God's grace. God loves us so much. There's enough for everybody. There's no excuse for not making a change and having a fresh start. God is waiting and wants you to commit to a fresh start this morning. Let's pray and then we'll sing.